So if you can solve a problem in the industry that people are currently dealing with, and you do it in a really great way that causes a very beautiful customer journey to where they're excited at the end and they want to tell people about you, you have a business.
Today, I get to speak with my good buddy, Jim Beard. He's a content creator and innovator, a visualization consultant, 3D producer, and a 3D team lead. With COVID on the rise, he didn't want to create something that everybody else was doing, a podcast. So he ended up creating a game show called the X's and O's Game Show. Now, he's got a ton of experience being a creative problem solver, lean management, growing companies and whatnot. So he was like, this is going to be easy. He solved the problem that he was having himself in figuring out how to better create a show that would create not just engagement, but also really live, engaging content. So with his X's and O's game show skills and hosting abilities, he created a monster of a show. Now I'm super excited to bring him on to the episode because I absolutely adore him. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Jim, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Junaid. This is awesome, man. Here, let me get a little
Woohoo! We got some
represent the Jack's life.
God, those are freaking awesome.
Yeah, Marley Jacks. Awesome.
That's so
Thank
cool.
you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. I'm excited.
Man. It's super exciting. I mean, the way we connected has got a whole story of its own.
Very true.
And I was talking to my wife last night, and I was asking her, how's 2020 been for you? And she's like, I started this new job last year and all this stuff. So we went in deep, and then I was like, let me tell you how my year went. I got invited to this game show, which changed my life.
Changed your life.
It made me want to have my own game show. You have no idea how many times I've been thinking about it, of the ideas and on all the things that are going into the game show that is brewing in my head.
You got all the tools, man. You got all the fun toys to make that game show magic. So
yeah. So
whenever you're ready, man, let's game show it up.
We'll figure.
We've had some discussions, and you got some awesome ideas that I know would blow people's minds. So
yeah,
we'll get you there.
Hell yeah. Time is what we all need more of.
Yeah, that's true, especially with families.
Families, COVID, everybody's staying home, work and whatnot, other responsibilities.
It's easy to give every last second to your business, and you shouldn't.
Yes.
And I don't think anyone really tells you that when you start out.
They're
not like, you hear Gary Vee is just like, do the work, get in there, get in the dirt. And it's like, okay, cool. And then, you realize that you put 20 hours into something, and there's people that also like to see your face sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I never get to see you. You sleep late. You're up late. You're up early. And, when do we get to hang out? And like, yes, I know. I gotta put stuff down on my calendar. So I decided, anytime after 6 p.m., no business. It's all family. So
I like that, and it's a good rule to have. Solid rule.
A solid rule. It's made, folks in the house happy, and my youngest kid, she's 2 years old, and she's growing up fast. I mean, super fast.
Oh my God, they grow so fast. It's crazy. It's just like a blur.
Yeah. So Jim, it's so awesome to have you on the podcast. We got connected through the game show. Thank you so much, Heather.
Is amazing. Heather Murphy. She's got a new product out right now, helping you out with your branding and just strapping a rocket ship to your business. Yes. Check her out. I can't run my business or my game show without Heather Murphy.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. She is my secret weapon, and everyone should have her as a secret weapon.
Yes, she's awesome. She's so awesome. She's such a giver. She creates these communities and these little groups, and there's just passion and compassion and
Mhm.
gratefulness and gratitude coming out of there. And it's just awesome. So we got connected through that. I was on the show. I was like, let's see what this is going to be like. What's funny is that I had a party going on in my house, and I told my wife, okay, I got to go on this game show. You host the guest, and
Hold
we'll
down the fort while
hold
I
on
do this
for it while
weird thing.
I do this weird thing. And I was like, I should have like mirrored it on the TV upstairs in the family
Oh,
room.
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
So they could
that
watch
would
you
have
on
been
the
pretty.
show. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. I like that.
So I'm like, okay, that's gonna be fun. They won't feel left out. Like, what is he doing down there? What's going on?
What does he do down there? I don't know. What does
Midway.
he do? Midway. Midway,
So
by the way, is an inside joke from that episode in particular.
yeah,
And you just have to watch the
you
episode to
just
get
gotta
the
go
joke, I
watch that
suppose.
episode. It was fun. So tell us a journey. Tell us a version of your journey, Jim, that no one's heard of before.
That no one's heard before. All right. Let's see here. That no one's heard. I was tired of being underappreciated or not appreciated in my job. Truly. I worked in automotive computer graphics for 15 years.
Wow.
And, you get to be a cog in the machine. Every once in a while, you get to work on special projects. So,
Mm,
like everything on Chevy.com, I've touched in some way, all the imagery on there.
nice.
And, we got to do occasionally like 360 videos, virtual reality, augmented reality. And the idea is that we make cars in the computer that look so real, you don't know the difference between what's real and what's not.
Mm,
And then we use those for commercials, print ad, billboards, internet, everything. That was what I did. And so you create this beautiful image and it gets handed off. And then someone else steps forward and says, takes the credit for it. And you never get to see that end,
yeah.
the payoff or the reaction of the client. And initially, for like the first 5 years, it didn't bother me because I was just so excited to be doing the work. And then as time went on, it was kind of like it felt empty, for lack of better wording. I
Mm,
realized that I did kind of need that feedback. I wanted to know that what we were doing had a meaning and had a purpose. Because
yeah.
all we would get back is an email from our CEO who went to this really nice, beautiful party and they did a celebration of the new campaign. And he said, give your best to your team. Good job. And then like a thumbs up emoji in
Thumbs
the
up.
email, and it just felt empty. And we didn't really get any tangible feedback. It was either it was good or it needs to be redone or changed. It was never like, we like this because this
Mm,
works because we sold more cars because we never got any of that. It was
it's
either
just a
it was
blanket.
good or do it again.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Do it again.
So after 5 years of that, it got tiresome. And I was
Oh,
like, you know what? In like 6 years, I'm probably going to just stop doing this.
yeah.
I did not say that to myself, but
Of course.
it gets comfortable.
Yeah.
You get comfortable.
Yeah.
You get to realize like, okay, this is the set of problems that I have on a day-to-day basis. I know how to handle them, and they may suck. It may be not the best scenario, but it supports my family. It gives us insurance, and it puts food on the table.
Yeah.
So I can go through that because I know that's a predictable outcome, even though it's not something that is personally fulfilling to me. And I feel like a lot of audience members probably can relate to that.
Mm,
That you just do it because you got to. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we're raised that if you work hard enough, your company will take care of you. And I think a lot of people during COVID are realizing that's
How
probably
good.
not the case.
Yeah. They know
And
how good were taken care of.
how good they were
Yeah.
actually taken care of. Yeah. So it's an old mentality that is definitely aided by being a business owner. And there's a whole new slew of problems to come with being a business owner.
Oh yeah.
But the beautiful thing about it is you can insure yourself with having more than one client. When you work for a company, you only have one client.
Yeah.
And when that client essentially dictates how you live your life and the how good that life can be. And if they decide one day that, your job is not needed, or your job is too expensive, they can make a decision that can affect your entire life,
Yeah.
and it's your only client. So you're completely at the whim of your employer.
Because you put
So,
all your eggs in the same basket.
yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
that's how we're raised, is that, you work hard and you will get noticed, and you'll be successful in this life. And yes, that does work for some. But COVID has been a very big reminder that even at your best,
Mm-hmm.
you can be found to be an expense that is too high,
Yeah.
and you can be left without a job. And then what are you doing now? You're left at square one. You have to start over again, and
Yeah.
you have to go find another client. And I think that that's something that people need to put in their minds, is that as a 9 to 5, your job is your client. So just because they take care of us, they pay insurance, they pay our bills, you got to think of them. That's one client. And if that client decides at any point that it's better to not have me work there, whether financially or any other reason,
Yeah.
you lost your one client. Everything was hedging and against that one client. So when you lose that client, you're left with nothing.
Yeah.
So being a business owner, innately in the mentality of a business owner, is to get multiple clients. Therefore, if you lose a client, your whole world doesn't come crashing down. You're okay. You insure yourself against hardship,
Yeah.
essentially.
You've got
And
redundancies. You're setting up.
right. So the same mentality you use to impress your employer, just switch that mentality over to your clients, and you can have a business.
Yeah.
It's not terribly complicated. We make it complicated. So if you can solve a problem in the industry that people are currently dealing with, and you do it in a really great way that causes a very beautiful customer journey to where they're excited at the end and they want to tell people about you, you have a business.
Yeah.
And just listen to your market. The market will guide you as you go along by saying, I don't like that, I do like that. Why aren't you showing us more of this? And then if you ignore them, they will leave you.
Yeah.
And that's just the way
They
it
will
is.
leave, yeah.
It's, but I think there's a mindset change there.
It
And
is.
I had that mindset change, and it has been terrifying and beautiful all at once. So that's the version that I have not told people.
Dude, that was really powerful. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Mm-hmm.
sharing. I mean, putting in the context of that's the one client you work for, hoping that they're gonna make you rich. What are you crazy? Why would somebody else
Never
want
gonna
to make
happen.
you rich? They just want to pay you enough so that you just come back the next day. Like, oh, over and over. But when
Yeah.
you hire clients or have multiple clients, you have the ability to set up the price that they pay, to set up all of that. So that's really powerful. Thank you, man. That like the analogy and the is not going to be lost on anybody at all. Like,
Like I said, I think a lot of people deal with it, but they don't necessarily think of it that way. It's a little bit of a shift.
yeah,
And even saying it to you, like, it's like, well, yeah, but oh, yeah, I was kind of taught different than that.
mm-hmm.
It's an old school mentality. I
Yeah,
was, especially millennials forward, are very much in that thinking of like, that's a client, that's, and they don't work at one place for very long. So they're always thinking of the next step.
yeah,
So instead of taking it like, I'll work for you for 2 years and then I'll work for someone else for 2 years until I get bored,
yeah,
you can find that in your clients, because each client is unique. Each client has a unique problem to solve,
exactly.
and it's always fresh and it's always challenging. That was another thing, is in my job, I just wasn't
Mm.
challenged anymore.
Yes,
So I get into a cycle of just, I know what it takes to get this across the finish line. I'm not going to put anything extra into it anymore,
exactly.
because you just get dragged down.
Yeah,
That fire that got you into it in the first place fizzles,
it
but you
does.
still need to pay your bills.
You still got to do it.
So
That's
I
an
gotta get
excellent
done.
point. Yeah, you get You're not getting challenged because you're not growing anymore, right? The reason we have dead trees is because they can't grow anymore. And if you look at trees, they're letting go of leaves every year so they can grow. And that's why we got to leave a job to go find or have other clients, because every step that we've taken in life has given us that growth opportunity. And the reason we start working for ourselves, or a reason we start a business, is because it gives us that flexibility, it gives us that growth, the challenge. Because and I think the biggest part of it all is you get to meet new people. When you're working at the same company, let's say there's 10 employees, 10 months you've learned about each person and you hung out with them. After the first year, you know everybody pretty well.
Yeah.
You're not
And they
meeting any
become
more
like your
new people.
family.
Yes, they do. And then you know what happens with family? You got to go out and go to school to meet new people, make new friends. And that's what entrepreneurs are able to do. They're able to network and connect with new people. Like just being connected to you on that show through Heather has connected with me with so many people. And it's the courage, the encouragement from others that you get back. There's another word for it, I can't remember. But you feel all these neurons running in your head and you feel all this excitement because everybody sees what you're doing and they encourage you, because everybody, like I read somebody, like if you meet people that have already gone through the phase that you're going through, they're always going to lift you up. They're not going to pull you down, because the people who are going to pull you down are the ones that haven't grown yet. They want you to stay
That's
at their own
interesting.
level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, starting out this process, I never saw that as being part of the game show. And it's called the X's and O's game show for those who don't know. And it's based off of like Hollywood Squares. So it's essentially like tic tac toe,
Hmm.
but it's Facebook Live. And in the tic tac toe board, sorry, there are 9 experts that fill out the grid. And there's 2 contestants and then me. And so I have each contestant is either an X or an O. They pick a square that they would like an X or an O to go in, just like tic-tac-toe. And in that square is an expert. I ask that expert a trivia question based around entrepreneurship, marketing, pop culture, and just downright weird. They can answer correctly if they know it. If they don't, they can lie. And then the contestant has to determine what's right or wrong. If they get it correct, then they get an X or an O in the square. 3 in a row gets tic-tac-toe. Best out of 3 wins the game. And it's just this weird thought that kind of like came together over a process of deep diving into Twitch gamers, who are my favorite people on the internet. And because they're having way more fun than all of us.
Oh my God, hell yes. Hell yes. They're having so much
Yeah,
fun. I'm
they're
like,
having
why the
so much
hell
more
did they
fun than
just get
all
to
of us.
play games and to just talk about everything they want
And I
in the
was like,
world?
if I could, even a fraction of that, if I could bring that to this very stiff world
Yeah.
that is like the marketing and entrepreneurship world, where it's just, here's a webinar, there's a perfect webinar script, and at the end, I'm going to sell you a thing. Or I'm going to give you a free
Boring.
thing, and then that's going to convince you to buy the next thing, and then the next thing, and then you get with lots of money. And it's like, okay, cool, but I feel like we lost the entertainment.
Yes.
And I'm a big fan of edutainment, educating, giving value, and entertaining. The
Yes.
Billie Jean way. Billie Jean's one of my favorite people on the planet, by the way. And that guy entertains.
Yeah.
He sells his butt off, but first and foremost, you're watching that whole video because the guy knows how to entertain truly at its core what that means. And so I was like, man, I got to bring some of that to Facebook world, because YouTube has got a ton of it. It's racing all over the place.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, if I could get some of that here, I might have something. And you put something up and you break it, and you put something up and you break it. And I did, and I still do. I'm constantly messing up the show, or something's going wonky, something's going crazy, and it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
Failure is not a bad thing. So
It's the
when
best
I
thing.
have problems on the show, you roll with it. I make light of it. I make fun of it. Like episode 20 and Jim still doesn't have his act together, and then everyone laughs. I fix it and we get right back in. And it's
Yeah.
just good fun. The beautiful thing about the game show too is I don't have to be always funny.
Yes.
I have 11 other people to prop me up. So people
Amen.
say like, Jim, we don't see a lot of your personal videos, just you. It's because that's terrifying. It is. And to me, someone that does this show week in, week out, all the time, I have a new show coming out this Thursday even. And it's like, it's different. And the reason it's different is because I've set myself up for success. I've given myself little wins. So
Yes.
if I'm having a bad night and I pump myself up for the show and it's not quite cutting it, I can lean on the other 11 people to bring me back in.
Yes.
To get me back in that mode, because there's so many beautiful people in our community and you get them together and it's just fun.
It is.
And you don't have to have 12 people to do it. Even just stuff like this, and you can add in on another person even, to get those different personalities together that may not agree on things but still have a lot of value to give. Get them together, have a conversation, and throw it in StreamYard so you can make a little bit of interesting border outlook, and you're going to separate yourself from 98% of your timeline.
Oh yeah.
Every time. And it's
Every
so
single
simple. You look up a couple images on Google, you make your own. If you have that skill set, you hire a VA, you go on to Fiverr.com even, and you can get something made and tossed together very quickly that's going to separate you from the pack. And then you just have a discussion based around problems that your ideal client is having, objections that they commonly have, overcome those objections using your videos, and have discussions about what's going on in the industry, what's going on in your world, in your journey.
Yeah.
Document the journey and let some other people come on that maybe have had similar paths or even very different paths and talk about those differences. You have a show.
Yes.
It's really only as complicated again as you make it.
Exactly.
And the X's and O's is incredibly complicated because I way overthought that crap. But it's also a lot of fun. And there's something to be gleaned from that, from the audience, is that if you take even just a small segment of that, what's the most fun part of the show? The people.
The people.
Every time without fail, the
Every
people.
time.
So you can even take out the game, give it a fun look, and just have those discussions. That's the most fun part of the game. So anyone watching, if you wanted to have something engaging content, I don't know what to make. Content creation is so hard. No, it's not.
It's not.
You scan your timeline, and you can even start a room and just start inviting people to your room. Have a conversation. Go live. You have content now.
Amen.
It's really that easy. And there will be something to gain from that, because even if you're only a step or two ahead of someone else, they have something to learn from you every time. That imposter syndrome is one of the great sicknesses of entrepreneurship. And I can't preach it enough. I struggle with it myself daily. Every single day I deal with imposter syndrome. And I wish there was a way to just make that work. But, and people like Marley Jackson, who's a big supporter of the show and of my business. She always talks about imposter syndrome too. And she's at this like gargantuan Titan level.
Yeah.
And she's still dealing with it. I forget her little rhyme that she has, but, new pay level, new problems. But she rhymes it nicely and does a better job than I do. But that's the punchline, right? Is it never goes away. You just have new problems.
Well, here's what I think about imposter syndrome. If you have it, it means you're on the right path, because you are facing your challenges, you are overcoming those challenges, and not worrying about whatever other people are thinking about, because that's what imposter syndrome is. It's, hey, what's that person going to say about me? Forget them, because they're only thinking about themselves, just like you're thinking about yourself.
And it's what's funny about it is the things that you're most afraid of. Judgment. People are going to think I look stupid. My beard has a ton of grays and I should have plucked it beforehand. At this point, I'm committed, people. I am gray.
Okay. I'm
you have the coolest beard on the internet, period. Hands down.
Thank you.
So, I'm not looking good today. I don't have on, nice clothes or whatever. And, the lighting's not right, or my microphone is not high end. I don't have the beautiful camera that Junaid has, so I should just give up. No. No, no one cares. What they care about is the content, the context of what you're saying, and if it can help them. If it can genuinely give value to someone that's even a half step behind you. You know, you've come up with your business and you're starting to come up with ideas. You're ahead of the game with someone in the 9 to 5 that's tired of this crap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have something to lend to them.
Yeah.
And that is, hey, this was the path I took. These are things I would have done differently to then speed up that process. That is incredibly valuable to me in a 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah.
And thinking to myself, can I do this? Well, Junaid did it. And just 4 months ago, he was in this situation, and that's where I'm at. I have something to gain from him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's one of the big things about imposter syndrome that we deal with is we think we have to be at that Titan level to be able to have the credentials to speak to someone and give value. You don't. It's
You
not even
can't.
remotely close to that. Never once have I been on a video to where someone was like, dude, you don't belong here. You don't know enough. What gives you the right? Never. It never happens, period.
Never happens. Yep.
And yeah, I've had a couple haters that pop on, but it's because they were bored. You know, they didn't really say anything mean. They were just like, I wish I was watching something else. It's like, okay, cool. You should go do that.
You should go do that.
You know, it shouldn't bother you. You know, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
I'm not for everyone.
No.
And I don't want to be for everyone, because if you serve everyone, you serve no one.
Yes. I think one of the awesome things that you mentioned was you can't get to Titan level and think, oh, I'm going to start when I get there. Like, you have to start that journey.
That's
you gotta
paralysis.
You got to have some bad videos to learn from your mistake to be able to create good video. Sure,
one of the most beautiful things I heard Steven Larson say, and I love Steven Larson so much. He screams publish, and I think it's still not loud enough. The guy needs a megaphone.
Publish.
It needs to be even louder, Steven, if you're listening. Even louder, man. Because publishing has changed my world. Without publishing, I'd be nowhere. Yeah. So one beautiful thing he says is when you start publishing, you're doing it for you. Publishing in the beginning is for yourself, and you're going to suck, and that's okay. And as you go along, you start to find your voice a little bit. You try things. Maybe some things don't work so well. You're going to see that 0 in the corner of your life. No one's watching. That's okay. It's for you. That's your time. Okay? That's your time to find your voice. That's for you.
Yes.
And you keep that up there so people know that you were human once. I love that. Amen. I love that. You know, because people have the instinct to say, that was so crappy. I'm so embarrassed of that. I don't want anyone to ever see that. Don't touch it. Leave it. Because people need to know when you reach a success that you were once human. I love that. And he says that, you know, you're going to suck for a while, and then you'll suck a little less, and then you'll suck a little less, and eventually you'll suck so little, you're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's it. So right now, I'm still finding my voice on a daily basis. With every podcast I'm on, with every show I'm on, with my own show, and with going live, I'm starting to get over those fears and over those fears of judgment and things like that. But I'm just doing it because right now, if I don't have any viewers, that's for me. I'm finding my voice, and eventually I'll find my tribe that comes along with me. And now X's and O's does have its own tribe. Mind you, I just started at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago, you know, and we've come this far. We have 700 active members in the Facebook page. That's insane.
That's insane.
Episode 20 in 2 weeks.
Dude, the one thing you mentioned where publish, right? And that's what Gary Vaynerchuk says. Just
absolutely
document your journey.
So critical.
Oh,
and like Russell says it too, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
And he's a big proponent of, you know, don't delete your early stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to suck, but people need to know that you came from A and you went to Z. Because now if all you're talking about is Z, they maybe can't relate to you anymore.
They won't be able to relate to it at all. True.
Exactly. It's so hard to relate to these people.
Like, oh, I don't know. Will they let me talk to them? Can I call this guy? Because he's so up there.
Yeah. You feel like it's unattainable. Like Russell Brunson actively tries to make people remember the potato gun story. Oh. Why is that? Why does he tell that story so much? It's because he wants to remind you that one time he was human. Yeah. That's it. And he's told that story thousands of times,
I
probably
bet.
hates it, probably has nightmares about that story, but he has to keep telling that story because people relate to him.
Yes.
That's his way to relate to people. And you can go back to his early videos and see back when he was doing the potato gun stuff.
Yes.
And that's beautiful. They suck. They're
He's,
awful. Truly, they're
yeah.
awful. But it's amazing because you can go, the pressure's off. You know? Like,
Amen.
I can listen to this person because they were once me. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. There's a huge YouTuber, MKBHD. I'm sure you've heard of him, right?
Yeah.
Marcus Brownlee. And he's got a video up that he posted 10 years ago on his YouTube channel. And you go and look at that YouTube video. He recorded on the webcam, and he's just showing this laptop that he just got. He's just talking. It's a young kid. Like, wow. And then you just keep moving up, and then you see the progress. But you can't see that. You can't have that progress unless you make the effort, take the step
You
to
gotta try
climb up the
stuff.
ladder.
I
You
love
gotta try.
Biz Bros said recently in a podcast that I was on, and they also said it again with Marley, that failure is not failure, it's taking samples. Like AI. AI, when
Yes.
it's learning to play chess at a very, very high level, what do? They lose and then they learn. They lose and they learn. They lose and they learn, and then they become better than any chess player in the world.
Yes.
And now it's considered like the highest of the high if you can beat these robots. But at one time, they were consistently, frequently, every single time failing.
Mm-hmm.
But then they learn. They
Yes.
take samples. Did that work? It didn't work. Okay, let's try something else. Did that work? It didn't work. Okay, try something else. And I love that.
Yeah.
Taking samples. It's not failure. And we teach our kids this too, that, oh, you did that wrong. No,
No.
you tried that and it didn't work. It's
Try
just
that again.
a little mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you tried that and it didn't work. What else might work? What else can we do to try and get the desired result?
Yes.
I love that. I love the whole idea of that. Taking samples.
That's so powerful. Another example on that same concept. The Baseball Hall of Famers have 30% wins.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the very highest of the high, they only hit 30% of the time.
Like what? 30%?
Isn't
It's
that
not even
crazy?
it's not even
That's the
50.
greatest in all of it.
Whew. Super powerful. Dude,
Absolutely.
that was a journey down Mistaken Land. Dude, we should make a board game called Mistaken Land where it's okay to make mistakes.
Seriously. And not many people know, like, I started COVID wanting to make a podcast about failure being a good thing and talking to entrepreneurs about their greatest failures. And when I say greatest failures, I mean the failure that maybe led them down a path that led
Yeah.
them to success. Because every great success is riddled with failure.
Yes.
Just you don't get to hear about it.
You don't get to, yeah. One of the things that I didn't tell myself for the longest time was that, yes, I got myself fired.
Mhm.
Till I said that, I wasn't like, I was trapped in this box. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But why am I doing this? I'm like, well, yes, I made that mistake. And I learned from that lesson how to effectively use your own time,
Mhm.
how to use a team to lift you up. Bring people around you that are gonna cheer you on because
Absolutely. So critical.
you know it like totally. They actually did an experiment. There's a TV show on Netflix. I can't remember the name of that my kids were watching. They blindfolded an athlete and they put him in front of a basketball hoop, and every time he shot, swish, right? And then they took the blindfolds off, and there's all these people standing around, and they're all like booing him, and he kept missing every shot.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah.
And then they brought somebody who had never played, right? He, not a pro, but they're all cheering him on, and every time he swished, it went in the hoop. So
Nice.
if you have cheerleaders around you, it activates your subconscious to know that you're already a winner.
It's a paradigm shift because if you go in and you go, man, I just can't figure this out.
Yeah.
The people that, in mastermind groups and just reaching out to people and being like, I'm looking for a community, somewhere where I belong. And if you don't have one, X's and O's is a great place. Junaid is a great place. They will bring you to communities that will support you and harness that. And but what it does is they change that can't to how can I? And then you realize, okay, get myself out of this negative thought pattern that's going to take me to a roadblock.
Yeah.
When I get into this community, they're going to tell me, no, back away from can't.
Yeah.
How can I? And here's some examples of things that we've tried that either had success or didn't.
Yeah.
So they kind of can guide you through the darkness, because as an entrepreneurship, you barely can ever see a step ahead of you.
Yes.
Ever. You never see the light at the end of the tunnel. The path is clear. Even the most successful entrepreneurs, grab any one of them, and I will bet you every bit of money I make for the year that they will never say they saw the path clearly from the beginning. Ever. It
Never.
Changes with each step, and it's dark again. And each step you get to see a little bit more, but it's never clear, ever.
But what you do learn is how to take that next step.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can take that next step with some added information, some value from other people that have walked that path before to the point that you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And they can tell you, listen, there's some trouble ahead, or this is going to come up and be a conflict. You're going to want to try and avoid that with this and this and this. So they help you to try and get some more light on that path. But either way, you have to make that step.
Yes. So let's take action, make it happen, publish, put that content out, document your journey, whatever problem you're facing, tell it to the world. Like literally tell people, hey, this is the problem that I'm facing. And you'll see all the support that gets pouring up into you. It's so amazing. You just got to put the word out.
And publishing doesn't just help the end user, the viewer of your content. It helps you too.
Yes.
Because realizing that you're not alone, that other people are going through the same things, and that other people respect you for having a voice for them. That's great content. And if you think to yourself, well, that's all great and good, I can talk about my process, but what if my process right now is I have no idea what to do? Okay. What do you consume the most?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the last person that you genuinely helped in your life, in your personal life? Who did maybe you hopped on a phone call, and after the phone call, they went, thank you truly for that.
Yeah.
There's something there. And you just start testing, taking samples, start failing as fast as you can. And so if you watch Friends every single day and you maybe YouTube videos about how to build woodworking stuff, maybe you make a group show discussion that's kind of funny, like Friends, so that you stay interested, and then you guys talk about your woodworking projects. You have content to make. Start testing. Maybe you are someone that consumes a lot of race car videos, or Gymkhana, and you want to get together with a bunch of your friends who are also passionate about that, and you guys talk about the newest third-party parts to put on your car. Mm-hmm. Did you try it out? Show a clip of you trying it out. Did it work? Was it crap? And eventually you can even get sponsors for crazy stuff like that. But you start trying stuff out. And you base it around your interests you already have. So when people say, I just don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, what do you already consume? What is the stuff that gets a fire under you that you're like, man, I want to check out that video, or that content creator is amazing, I have to watch all of his stuff? Find out, think about the why. Why do I like their stuff? Is it because of a common interest we have, a habit that we share? Is it aspirational? You want to be like that person? You can build content around that and then figure out ways to where you've helped others. Maybe you
Yeah.
don't consume a lot of YouTube. Maybe you don't consume TV or music or whatever it is, and you just sit in your dark room. That's content. Talk about what keeps you in that dark room. Why aren't you reaching out? Talk about
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And that is something that people can share with you and join you.
Amen. Amen, man. I'm all in on the Jim Beard boat, man. You know, as you're giving me examples, my cyclist friends have been talking to me and like, hey, we want to start a YouTube channel where we talk about these cars.
Awesome.
I'm like, why aren't you doing it? Like, we
Awesome.
want to,
Take some
but,
samples.
but,
Start
but here's the
aggressively
funny
taking
thing, right?
samples.
Everybody wants to make money. Like, how can I start monetizing? Like, well, you got to put the content out first.
You can't start with the money. You have to start with the content and let the market tell you what they want from you.
Yes.
And you build around that.
And if you're not putting any content out there, you will
They
not
don't know
gonna
you
find.
exist.
They're not. Yeah, they don't know you're here.
Do
Like Gary Vee says, if you're not in here, you don't exist.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. And we get so afraid of what people will think. And take
Yes.
it from someone who just started at the beginning of COVID with aggressively putting out content. It never happens.
Never happens.
It just
Oh,
never does.
yeah. Jim, dude, we've had such awesome conversation. We can keep going. This is a
I'm happy
forever
to. Yeah, I'm happy
evergreen,
to.
right? Um, but I have some really fun questions that I'd like to ask you.
Let's do it. Let's get crazy.
Awesome. But before we get into those awesome questions, we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, guys. We have been talking with James Beard on how to create your own live game show for Facebook. Now, the reason I the focus on Facebook is one, there's a ton of people on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
more than any other platform, which makes it so accessible. And just recently, they launched an ability to create events where you can charge people money through Facebook events on your pages. So, you want people to come see your game show or your show, they got to pay. Super awesome. James has shared so many ideas, so many ways of how you can create, but it all comes down to why you want to create. Because when you have that why super strong, you can take it anywhere. So if you haven't, if you just jumped right in the middle of the episode, go back and listen in, and you'll get to see what we talked about. But now we have some really fun questions for James. Is it James or Jim? I keep and
Jim. Yeah, it's Jim.
I keep hearing that you'll respond to anything. So
I will. I will literally respond to anything that starts with a J.
awesome. A lot of people, back in the days, they couldn't pronounce my name, so they're like, "Hey Jay, can you do this?" Like,
Yeah,
sure,
take it. That's good. We'll go with that.
I'll do it. So Jim, what what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Hobby that I wish I got into. Probably woodworking. I know carpentry enough, but actually, like making a piece of wood into something else
Mm-hmm.
is super intriguing to me, and I'm fascinated by it.
Yes.
So that's probably something I wish I got as a skill set along the way. I'm going to have to play catch up now.
Yeah. Um, that's an awesome skill set. I've got a workshop. I'd love to tour you around.
Absolutely. I love that, because you work in computers so much, you need to go to the other side of the spectrum
Oh
to
my
balance you
god.
out. And I think that's super critical to have that like hands-on
Oh my god. I love working with my
something
hands.
creating with your hands. There's something so beautiful about that, especially when your entire day is encompassed in the screen.
Yes.
It's wonderful to leave that behind and kind of unplug and just it's just you and a material making something new. I think
It's
is
like
amazing.
it's like you're working with the other side of your brain.
Hmm.
And sometimes you feel so left out. Like, why am I feeling so So
Exactly.
annoyed. I need to do something
Mm.
else. Let me go out bike or yeah. Awesome.
Like
Absolutely.
I think you saw a couple of the pictures that I posted, but
Oh
I'm
yeah.
creating a fort for the little one in the backyard
Looks
out of an old
so
pool
badass.
deck. So the pool got tugged out because it was crap and it just wasn't working anymore. And it was more money to repair it than it would
Mm-hmm.
be to replace it.
Yeah.
And we decided not to replace it. So then there's just this pool deck sitting in the middle of the backyard. And we noticed that the kids kept like wanting to play in it like a fort. So I was like, well, let's just fully commit. Let's make it a full fort.
Make it afford. Nice. Can't wait to see the finished product, man.
Thanks,
It's gonna
man.
be awesome. Next question. What did you want to be when you were a child?
I wanted to be a dinosaur.
And now you're one.
No,
Because
when I was growing up, the minute I saw Jurassic Park, I was like, oh, sold. That's it. That's it. That's me. And more importantly, the behind the scenes of Jurassic Park with all the animatronics and
oh
Elvis,
yeah.
the T Rex that they were using, the big animatronic Elvis
Mm-hmm.
T Rex,
Yeah.
and I just was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. Done.
That's what.
So I knew from that very moment on what
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do with my career, and it never quite went that way. I worked on a couple movies. The film incentives were in Michigan, and that was a beautiful time. And then they left, so it was short lived. It was
Yeah.
either move out to Cali or get into something else. So I got into automotive, and it paid very well, and it was
Nice.
good. Good job, good steady work, but it just didn't have that flair of film.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing in this world is that film doesn't pay very well unless you're a technical director and up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you are replaceable, and you're replaceable very fast.
Yeah.
So
It's a very hierarchical system. I was
absolutely,
like,
yeah. There's a
whoa.
threshold. Above
Yeah.
that threshold, like the wage gap goes like
Boom.
really really big wage gap
Yeah.
between a technical artist and a technical director is
Nice.
a huge wage gap. And to get to that point, you really have to do a lot of promotion and
Mm.
a little bit of politics sprinkled in there. And you have to know the right people. At that level, it's essentially like it's connections. And
All the
if you
connections.
don't pursue that avenue, then, there's a glass ceiling in that business.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Is that I did a little bit of the film stuff, a little bit of the film stuff here, and then went into automotive to pay the bills.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Next question. I mean, I want to pick on that question a little bit. The automotive part and the 3D part and the virtual
Sure.
reality, because I've been playing with virtual reality games right now where I get to like bring in this avatar and like this is so cool. And there's like if you use certain cameras, you can turn on green screen. So then
Yeah.
it's like mixed reality. They put your body into this video game and you can see this Junaid flailing around his arms
I
playing this
love it.
video game. It's hilarious. Um, Next question. What is your favorite movie or TV show? And I think we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, Jurassic Park,
Jurassic Park.
hands
Favorite
down.
movie, hands down.
TV show, Breaking Bad. My favorite TV show from like as a beginning to end thought. I think that none has done it better than Breaking Bad.
Yeah, they've done an
I've watched
amazing
it
job.
now, I think 6 times.
The whole series?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can cut that out. That's embarrassing.
Hey man, COVID.
I love it though.
Everybody's
So
catching
good.
up on their movies or TVs. My wife's rewatching Family, Modern Family.
Oh, that's a great show.
It's a great
Yeah,
show.
absolutely. And isn't that the same guy that's now in Ozark? Like the lead of that is the lead in Ozark?
No, Jason Bateman is not in there.
Bateman.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think
Wasn't
he's
he
in
in
Modern
Modern
Family.
Family? Oh, just kidding.
He's not in. He's not in. Just kidding either. He's
He's
in.
not just kidding? What is it, Arrested Development he's in there?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So just edit it that way.
I'm not editing this stuff, dude. This is gold. All right, next one. And I kind of know the answer to this question, but I'm just gonna ask it anyways. What movie would you choose if you got to play character in it?
Ooh. I don't know if it would be Jurassic Park. I'm not a strong runner. If I'm running, you should be running too. So I don't know if I'd want to be in that one. I don't know. Be a character in a movie. The movie Blow, Johnny Depp.
Awesome. I'm coming in 5 minutes. All right, we gotta wrap this up.
All right.
Huh?
She's coming early. I've been calling.
I know I'm coming.
Don't cut out that part either.
No, that's staying in here. I'm coming. Who's your favorite superhero?
Batman.
Ooh, I love that man.
And the reason is because he has weaknesses, lots of them.
Batman. Right.
Lots and lots of weaknesses. I think the best thing that makes a superhero is that they have weakness and a lot of it and how they overcome it. So we're going back to the failures.
Oh, yes.
Now, what are the superheroes that we appreciate the most? Are they the ones like Superman, to where only thing that they're allergic to is a secret rock on one planet in the entire universe? And other than that, they're invincible? Or the people that have flaws, that have to overcome those flaws and those failures and those problems to then, win the day?
Spider-Man.
Those are my favorite superheroes.
Yep, Spider-Man, Batman, all these folks
have all these gigantic character flaws and problems that they deal with in real life, issues that they go through, and that's what makes them compelling.
Yeah, it makes them so appealing, and you can relate to them on another level.
Absolutely. Hold on 1 second. Just 1 second. Sorry about that.
No
Dog
problem.
was terrorizing the cat.
All right,
Dogs
man.
and cats, they'll never get along. Am I right?
They will never get along. Last question of this session. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Oh, trouble.
Trouble. Bring on the trouble, guys. Awesome. Jim, where can my audience find you?
Absolutely. We have a new Facebook group to help you simplify content creation, to make you realize it's not so damn hard. It's called Omnipresent Army, and that's on Facebook groups. You can look that up. And then there's my company, Micro Machine Media. We repurpose content and teach you content strategy to get you omnipresent in your niche across Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Tiki-taki. And then you can obviously reach out to me anytime. I'm in my messenger heavily throughout the day and just chatting it up with people, networking, forming new relationships, helping out where I can. And and then you can check out the X's and O's Game Show at X and O Game Show on the Facebook page. We go live every other Saturday, which we are now switching to every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. But it used to be every other Saturday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. But we had a lot of our experts that need their beauty sleep. So we're backing it up a little bit and plopping it in the middle of the week.
I love it. I love it. Awesome, Jim. Thank you so much for your time. This was a fun conversation. There's so much more to talk about. We'll continue that conversation.
I appreciate it, and I'd love to come back anytime if you'll have me.
Awesome. All right. Take care. Have a good one.
Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the episode. Thanks so much for listening to our guest on this episode. Please send me an email at junaid@hacksandhobbies.com to tell me what you loved about our guest today. You could find links mentioned in this episode on the hacksandhobbies.com website.